Game 2 of 4 on the day here on SoCalCollegeSports.com's continuing coverage. 3C2A 2017 Soccer Championships. Mike Spada, Jeff Stoyanoff on the call. It'll be Fresno City, Santiago Canyon coming up in just a little bit. The game one did run a little long, went into overtime and penalty kicks. We will see Taft in the final. They will take on the winner of Fresno City on the men's side and Mount Sac. Again, game two coming up here on our coverage here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Fresno City on the women's side and Santiago Canyon.
Women's semifinals set to get underway. The 3C2A men's and women's soccer championships here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Fresno City College and Santiago Canyon College. Fresno City, the #1 seed in the north, and Santiago Canyon, the #2 seed in the south. The Hawks of Santiago Canyon, 22-1 on the season. They won the Orange Empire Conference. They come in red hot, as you would expect, with 17 straight wins. Meanwhile, Fresno City never left red hot. 24-0-1 on the season. They won the Central Valley. The first number that jumps out at you at Fresno City, when you look at the stats, which are beyond gaudy on the season, is 145 goals scored. They have 3 of the top 10 scorers in the entire state against just 5 goals allowed. A 29-1 ratio. And it just speaks to the domination that they have enjoyed this season. Meanwhile, it's Santiago Canyon in the white jerseys, working from right to left here in the first half, as that one is cleared out of play. Well, let me check that. All right, so it is Santiago Canyon in white and Fresno City in the red jerseys, working it from left to right here just in the first minute, just underway. Happy you joined us here on SoCalCollegeSports.com, bringing you the 3C2A Soccer Championships for the 3rd straight year, and we're thrilled to be here. Loose ball in the box. Cassie Soto closing in, but it's scooped up by Castaneda. Rihanna Castaneda gets the start as the goalkeeper for Fresno City. Her opposite number, Sierra Pedroza, gets the start in goal for Santiago Canyon. So far, it's the Hawks who've come out in the first minute or two in control. That one a little bit wide of Cassie Soto, so back to Fresno City. Fresno City starts a starting lineup: Jasmine Garibay, along with Sofia Zertuche, Ashton Bracamonte, Reina Riston. Riston, one of the 3 leading scorers for Fresno City College, #9. Anissa Wilson, another one of the leading scorers for Fresno, #12. Precious Gorostiza. Cassie Sandoval, Juliana Garcia, Alyssa Damian, and Danielle Pacheco. I'll try to give you the Santiago Canyon starting lineup here shortly. Fresno City trying to mount an attack. Garibay had it for a moment, then lost the handle, but Fresno City maintains control. Riston battling on the near side, and the ball cleared away. Nice job, Alyssa Damian, keeping it in for Fresno City. Bethencourt couldn't quite find the handle for Santiago Canyon, and it's lost out of bounds on the near side. It'll be a throw-in for Santiago Canyon. I'll check that. They're going to say this win on the end line. It'll be a goal kick. Talked about Sierra Pedroza in goal. Lauren Bethencourt, along with Taylor Asiak, Madison Simmons, Cassie Soto, Savannah Knight, Angelica Ortega, Kennedy Hawk, Sukanya Sukfam, Ophelia Sosa, and Maddie Solder round out the starting lineup for Ian Woodhead in Santiago Canyon. Into the 4th minute, still no score. Conrad Garcia, the referee today. A rush now for Fresno City and a shot on goal, and Pedrosa able to come up with the stop, and Pedrosa will need to come up big today. That was the first look for Anissa Wilson. And a good shot on goal. Santiago Canyon can't corral at midfield. And instead, Fresno City Fresno with another rush and a centering pass, and nobody home. Bracamonte looking in the middle as we're rejoined by Dave LaTourette. And Dave, good to have you back. And talked about Fresno City and a team that's so dominant that you almost don't know what to make of it. I mean, what can you say about a team that has scored 145 goals on the season and has allowed 5?
Well, you would hope that they're confident coming into this match against Santiago Canyon. And ironically, Santiago Canyon was the one with the first couple sort of half chances, and sort of they wanted to put their stamp on the game a little bit. But Fresno already with some opportunities. They're very quick. They're good on the ball. They possess it well. They're fun to watch. You watch the game, and as it develops, and I think maybe they're the Cerritos of the women's side. I don't know if that's the comparison that we'd want to make.
Yeah, one thing we can say for sure here is we're going to have a new champion in 2017. This one in the box and cleared away by Santiago Canyon. The 5-time defending champion Cerritos fell in the previous round in the playoffs in round 3 to Santa Barbara, who we'll see later tonight.
Yeah, are they, I believe, an undefeated Santa Barbara
yeah,
team as
absolutely.
well?
2 undefeated teams coming in. Fresno City is one of them. But this, a team in Santiago Canyon, this is a team that they're playing against that I wouldn't expect is going to be overwhelmed by the task in front of them, because this is a program that's had an awful lot of success, including many trips up here to the Final Four in recent years under head coach Ian Woodhead.
Yeah, and there's not going to be any awe of, hey, we're playing Fresno and we're scared of Fresno or anything like that. They're going to come out and they're going to play, and I think they've shown that. I've never seen them play before, but their number 24 up top looks like she's really good on the ball, so they can find her. She's good with the ball at her feet. They played a ball into her chest. She takes it down nicely, and you can see right there, very, very creative. So
yeah, it's Ophelia Sosa. She tries to find Soto on the pass, and it's broken up, and Fresno City has it back.
I mean, tactically, I think she's going to be the one that's just going to stay high, and they're going to try and find her and play off her, which seems to be the right thing to do. She's strong and very technical.
Into the 7th minute. Long pass, and it's nearly broken up, but the Rams keep it. Riston leading the charge, trying to get it back from Wilson, but that pass intercepted, and the Falcons will clear it to midfield.
Wilson intelligent there, running away from the ball, realizes she's going to run offside. She stops and shows back and receives it, and a lot of times it's hard to teach players that, but once they learn how to do that, the combination play comes into effect.
Centering pass, they're looking for Sosa, and it's cleared to the edge of the box and then out. Garcia pushes it outside. Riston. This is Bracamonte, and the Rams will try to set up the offense here in their own end. Misfire on the pass, and the turnover gives it back to Santiago Canyon. Well, you can't blame me for wanting to say Cerritos.
That's hard to clean the slate and start over that quickly between matches.
I mean, we just had them in their last game. Used to seeing the women here every year. But a new look here, and some teams that are coming off some incredibly dominant regular seasons.
And we need that. We need that in the game of soccer in general, but here in California, you don't want to root against anybody, but it's nice not to see Cerritos here, which means we have new programs here in the Final Four.
Sosa with the centering pass, but it's cleared away. Bracamonte on the drive. Riston going to track this one down. Riston in from the right, looking for the center. And that is just cleared away. Santiago Canyon. Might have been a handball, no call. Well, did we get the call? Either way, it's going back to Santiago Canyon, and a terrific lead pass for Riston, but nothing really developed on the last rush.
Fresno there in the attack, a really nice job, good service across the box, but they leave a big gap in between their layers of defenders and attacking players, and hopefully Oliver and his girls they change that a little bit. They get another player or two into that layer in between, and they can hold the ball. If they can do that, they're going to cause havoc against Santiago Canyon.
50-50 ball, and Santiago Canyon able to win it for a moment. Instead, it goes back to Fresno City. No score here in the 10th minute. Bracamonte works to the center. Bracamonte still on the drive. Tried to leave a pass for Garibay, but nobody home. Now the Hawks want to set up a counter. Nothing doing for Sosa.
They need to find support off her much quicker. They find her feet, and she's so good on the ball, but she can only hold it for so long. But they aren't getting numbers into the attack for her. When she receives it, they need to get 3 or 4 or 5 players into the attack and create some layering into that system. But she can't do it by herself with only 2 other players.
You know, like other sports we cover, sometimes you got to move without the ball. Try to create some passing lanes. Solder can't quite find the handle. Here come the Rams. Wilson with the move, but lost it trying to split the double team.
Wilson good on the ball. Technical little engine in the middle of the field for Fresno.
Well, how dangerous is Fresno City? They have one of the top 10 scorers in the state coming off the bench. Taylor Alkire, assuming that she's available today, but she's not.
That's referred to as a luxury, right?
Yeah,
it's a luxury.
Exactly. Nice one to have. Nice problem for Oliver Germán to have, I suppose. That's assuming that she's available today. She's not in the starting lineup in the game today. But, you know, we talked a little bit about that in game number 1, and sometimes it's a different energy, and it obviously gives you a little flexibility as a coach when you can bring some fresh legs off the bench and a player that sometimes excels in that role. On to the 12th minute. Well, you know, obviously we talked about the Santiago Canyon winner of the Orange Empire Conference, not going to be overwhelmed. But if you're looking in a situation, is there a possibility that Santiago Canyon would like to just try to get to the second half of the game and take this game deeper into the game under the hopes that Fresno City is not often in that situation, and you maybe want to, if you're scoreless in the second half, that's more than fine because you're taking Fresno City to a spot where they haven't often been this season.
Yeah, I think if you can be disciplined enough in the first half and you get to halftime and it's 0-0, if that's what there's a good opportunity. But if it is 0-0 at half and you've had an opportunity like that and you know you're going to get opportunities, then all of a sudden you're like, I'll take a shortened game against Fresno for sure.
Bethencourt with the move there and gets a good strike, but it's wide of the mark. And we talked about the leading scorers for Fresno. Cassie Soto with 11 goals among the leaders for Santiago Canyon. And you talked about the work of Ophelia Sosa with 16 goals. So look for 10 and 24 for Santiago Canyon to really lead the way offensively in terms of good opportunities. But that was a pretty good look from Bethencourt, who looked pretty comfortable taking the shot.
And they're doing it by not putting a lot of players into the attack, interestingly enough. Maybe that's a little bit of strategy now, is to just be a little bit more conservative and not put a ton of players into the attack and just absorb Fresno a little bit as the first half goes, and then it's the second half, which I think we'll probably see like we did in the first game. It opens up a little bit as some of the energy dissipates and players don't have that adrenaline and that energy. But so we'll also see whose fitness is better by then as well.
Bracamonte gets around Ortega. Bracamonte on the drive, looking for Riston, but it's cleared away to the near side and out of play. This will be a goal kick for Pedrosa. Have our first substitutions. Ashley Ruskelly checking in for Santiago Canyon. See Pedrosa in no particular hurry here in the 14th minute. Santiago Canyon with a fairly uneventful run. They're the number 6 seed in the South. But the draw opened up for them with number 2 seed College of the Canyons losing early in the draw, upset by number 15 LA Pierce. And that opened up the draw a little bit, and Santiago Canyon able to cruise through, outscoring their opponents a combined 6-0.
And there's another opportunity for Santiago Canyon, not attacking with a lot of numbers, but they're dangerous players. Good ball in frame. Terrific save from Fresno City's goalkeeper.
Yeah, Castaneda saving on a good look. from Santiago Canyon. So anyway, just to finish the point, Santiago Canyon with a fairly uneventful run, but as the 6th seed, they make it up here to the Final Four, and they get Fresno City here in the semifinals, and we'll have our first corner kick. So come for Santiago Canyon from the near side.
And the more opportunities like this that they get, the more confident that they're going to get as well.
Lobbed into the box. The header is over the crossbar. Meanwhile, Fresno, as you would expect, a dominant run through their 3 rounds, beating Evergreen Valley, Cañada, and San Joaquin Delta. Their draw also opened up, but Fresno was obviously at the top of it. Both Las Positas and City College of San Francisco, 4 and 5 seeds, they fell in the playoffs, but Fresno, outscoring their opponents 10-0 over the 3 games, romped to the Final Four here, and they'll get Santiago Canyon.
And they get to do it all at home. You can't look past the fact that Fresno being so far south in the north region that if they draw somebody on the road, it's a long travel for them.
Quick pass ahead, and it's broken up nicely by Pedrosa.
Well done by the goalkeeper, well read to come off her line and be committed to saving that.
Aggressive play, entered back into the box. Fresno City trying to get something going. Bracamonte on the one-timer, drops it into the box.
Very good, very patient on the ball from Fresno.
The centering shot cleared away once again, and Santiago Canyon just trying to clear it out, and finally they do. It's Solder that's able to ultimately clear it out. But yeah, that was a completely different look there from Fresno City, and so often you see teams that are in a big hurry when they get a scoring opportunity, but a lot of interior passing as the Rams were very patient.
Well-schooled, well-disciplined team.
Alyssa Damian loses the handle. Back to Santiago Canyon. This is Soto trying for the give and go, and it's knocked out of play, and that'll give Fresno City a chance to set up. A one-timer into the box and cleared back out, and this is Taylor Alkire. Rams trying to mount a charge.
As a broadcaster, Jeff, you probably appreciate the fluorescent yellow numbers on the back of a black and red jersey.
I wouldn't mind seeing that in some of our American football coverage.
I agree. And I think what we're going to see this afternoon, I believe Fresno, the men's program they'll play after this, they'll have a similar black and red jersey, and they have red numbers on them. You can have fun with that.
Jasmine Aguirre finds Bracamonte. Bracamonte guarded closely with a good move and a centering pass, and it's just cleared away. What a terrific move by Bracamonte, battling against Ortega. Cleared but not out.
Bracamonte been very good on the ball, creating opportunities, and also with Wilson, who's in the middle of the park. So those 2 girls have been very good at taking players on 1v1.
Aguirre with a move back to the left, enters it in again and cleared right back out. Well, you feel that the Rams are really starting to assert themselves here in the last several minutes in this game in terms of time of possession.
And they've probably seen it before, maybe every single match, where teams just put players behind the ball, and they need to defend with everybody that they have to try and combat what Fresno brings. So they're going to be patient enough. You can see that already. They're patient on the ball. They're not going to, or you would assume they're not going to force balls and pressure, but Santiago Canyon right there does a nice job. As soon as a Fresno player turns her back and faces her own goal, they decide to put pressure on her. So
yeah, well you made
done.
the point in the first game that we did that sometimes teams that like Cerritos that like to sort of pressure you up front don't like it when they're pressured back, and of course that's easy to say against Fresno because that's a pretty risky move from a coaching standpoint too if you want to try and pressure them.
And it's what we would call selective pressing, where you say, hey, we can't press them all the time. We can't press them when they're facing forward, but if they turn their back and they're facing their own goal and you see the opportunity, maybe that's a good time to disrupt it a little bit. And they did that. Now they have the ball here in their attacking half.
th minute, still no score. Semi-final number 1 on the women's side. Trying to work it across, get it to Garcia and over to Bracamonte as they try to switch the attack to set up. Bracamonte angling left, still on the drive. Continuing to battle against Ortega, tries to drop it down low and just a little bit in front of Wilson. And Pedrosa again, aggressive, able to jump into the passing lane. This is Bracamonte from out front and online, but Pedrosa right there.
Good shot on goal, but in the end, not the most dangerous place to be shooting from. And I think Santiago Canyon will take their risks and say you can have the ball from 30.
I think Bracamonte has shown a couple of moves early, and now she's gained a measure of respect, and they're trying to back off her a little bit after she's made a couple of moves and has been able to get deep penetration.
And they're actually pretty patient on her. As she carries the ball diagonally across the field, and she's done that a couple times. They don't dive in on her. They just force her to one side and just try and take her to a lesser angle.
Damian clears this one out for Fresno City, and we'll have a throw in. Touch pass, nearly broken up. Gonzalez had it for a moment, and now it's a 50-50 ball, and Fresno's got it. Damian works it across. Rams on the charge. Riston tries to center. It's been deflected out of, well, I thought it was deflected out of bounds. Is this going to be a corner kick?
I think he called a corner kick. So
there it is, yeah. So the Rams will have their first corner kick. And keep an eye here on a couple of different players. Wilson, number 12, right in front of the goal. Here's the approach. Line drive kick. Cleared back out.
That ball targeted towards the near post, and I think they're trying to get a player underneath that to flick it, and just went over the top of her head. But good driven ball. If they can flick that on, they're looking for a second layer of runners into the back post.
Consuela Luna back outside. That one blocked at the point of attack. The one-timer sent to the far side, and Pedrosa well outside the box, able to come up with it for Santiago Canyon. Well, already we've seen Pedrosa work away from the line quite a bit in goal for Santiago Canyon, and how much of that is philosophy and how much of that is just how an individual goalkeeper feels comfortable playing?
I think the way she's done it has been more about how she reads the game and how she feels comfortable, and you can see she appears comfortable when she's in goal. She doesn't, goalkeepers can give senses of how comfortable or uncomfortable they are in a situation, and she looks comfortable. She hits a good ball when she distributes. She hits a long ball, which is great to relieve pressure, but she also looks comfortable in goal and positionally looks pretty solid.
Bethencourt goes down, and a free kick coming to Santiago Canyon. Ashley Buskelly. Excuse me, let me get that right. Ashley Ross Kelly.
We'll see what Santiago Canyon develops here. Every time they've gone forward and they've been in the final third, they seem to be dangerous.
Into the box, the header, in for the goal! You can't draw it up a whole lot better.
Every time they've come forward, I just said it, every time they come forward, they're dangerous in the final third, and there's a good ball into the back post, and it didn't even appear like the Fresno player challenged it all that much. So Santiago Canyon on the end of a set piece.
And it was Ashley Ross Kelly on the receiving end to give Santiago Canyon the 1-0 lead here in the 24th minute. And the first question that comes to mind is, how often has Fresno City even faced a deficit this season? And it can't have been too often, if at all.
Right, there's another situation. They're down a goal, and you know, if you're Oliver, hopefully you've talked about the situation. You say, hey, if we give up a goal, don't if you're as soon as they're getting opportunities, not to change anything, to keep playing, and it's early enough in the match that they don't have to make any tactical changes at this point. They just need to be persistent and take advantage of some opportunities to try and get one back, and then it's all to play for.
Well, of course, we just saw a team come from 1-0 down, so in case you needed any more of an illustration of how it might be done, look no further than semifinal number 1 on the men's side. This is Ross Kelly.
I also think Santiago Canyon can continue to do what they're doing. They've been patient in defending. They've absorbed a certain amount of pressure, and their goalkeeper's done a nice job so far. They can keep doing the same thing.
Another rush, and the shot just over the crossbar. Bethencourt. And I'll tell you, Bethencourt is one of those players that appears to be quite comfortable taking a shot from outside the box.
Yeah, and she seems to have. It's a couple times now she's hit the ball high, and then in women's soccer in general, at certain levels, with essentially the goalkeepers tending to be a little shorter in stature than, let's say, a men's goalkeeper, that high ball has always been a dangerous ball for female goalkeepers to deal with. I've done it with the female goalkeepers I've trained, and they actually have to play a little bit different in terms of their positioning and technically than, let's say, a male goalkeeper who might be a little taller, have longer arms, et cetera, et cetera. So there are some differences in that, and they're looking maybe to expose it.
This one over the end line and back to Santiago Canyon. Well, it's hard to say that it's any kind of an upset for a team that's 22-1 on the season to take a 1-0 lead, but it's a noteworthy start for Santiago Canyon.
Only in an upset in the making because they're playing Fresno. That would not be the only reason why.
This one kept alive. Damien over to Pacheco, and Pacheco launches. Sent right back.
And Santiago Canyon has almost been a little bit more dangerous since they took Ophelio Sosa off, who's a target player who holds the ball well, but they seem to be more athletic now up front and have caused disrupted Fresno a little bit more and not allowed them to get into the attack as quick as they were previously.
Yeah, it was a fairly quick substitution for Ophelia Sosa. Back to Pacheco. And the Rams will reset as we move toward the 28th minute. Ashley Roskelly with the tally. Damien works it ahead, and Santiago Canyon able to clear it back out.
I think Fresno would do themselves well to get Bracamonte back on the ball and find a way to get her back into some touches, because every time she touches it, she's dangerous. Whether she takes it internally and beats players or gets the ball to the end line.
Aguirre has that one poked away. Ross Kelly's got it. Yeah, Bracamonte, oh, there she is. She is on the near side still, with Riston over operating on the far side for Fresno City, but they have gone away from her, it would appear, in the last several minutes. Quick double team kept alive. Soto gets it back.
Santiago Canyon has gotten a bit more of the play now. It's a little bit more even, a little bit more 50-50, or they've gotten a little bit more of the possession here as we get into the 29th minute.
We'll have a throw in. Well, this is an event that's really been dominated by the Southern schools. Only one title coming from a Northern school since 1996 on the women's side. And, you know, that's largely the domination of a couple of programs specifically that have really brought home a lot of those championships. But obviously, I think there's a definite feeling that Fresno City was the kind of team that maybe could start to move that in the other direction moving forward after such a dominant regular season. But it's Santiago Canyon that gets off to the quick start here.
Right, and that's, if Santiago Canyon, even though where their power ranking was and where they were seated in the tournament, if they've played a lot of quality opponents, that they're used to this. They're used to and are ready for a Fresno City, and it appears to be the case at this point.
Kennedy Hawk set to throw in.
And the other thing too is, because of the certain conference affiliations, when you're in conference, you don't have choice of your conference games and who you play. You have choice of your non-conference. And in the North for the women, the best conferences is the Big Eight. When you have teams like Diablo Valley, Santa Rosa, you've got Folsom, who's in the Final Four, San Joaquin Delta, the teams like that are chronically good, and they're ranked very, very high. So they play good opponents day in and day out, and then they beat each other, so their records aren't always as imposing.
Yeah, well, that's part of what I think we were alluding to when we were talking about. It's hard to really quantify a stat like 145 goals scored versus 5 goals allowed. It's either, an insanely dominating team or a team that maybe has not been able to find as many teams to play that are on their level throughout the season. And obviously there isn't, you're going to run into only the best at this point. Centering pass from Bracamonte, but cleared away.
That's a great ball over the top to find Bracamonte in underneath. And that was the type of ball I was talking about in the first game. When you play a back three or play against a back three, to find that ball that gets in between the seams or over the top and on an angle into your players running in behind. And Fresno City, nice job trying to find Bracamonte, who serves a nice ball across the box.
Yeah, the long pass, perfectly placed. And it was Rayan, our team, that was able to send it out.
And sometimes it's hard to do that if Santiago Canyon sits a little bit deeper and absorbs a little bit more pressure, which is different than Cerritos this morning, who kept a little bit higher line, but Taft wasn't able to sort of find that ball in behind.
The throw in too strong, cleared back to the near side and out of play. This one cleared out to Soto, who will send it the rest of the way out. Rodriguez has that one poked away.
A little bit less patience now from Fresno than we saw 15 or 20 minutes ago, or maybe since giving up the goal. And I think they need to develop that. And there's good pressure by Fresno to win the ball back.
Great job by Alkire to come on and get the steal. Fresno trying to mount a rush, but it's all white jerseys in the box, and Santiago Canyon will send that one all the way back to Pacheco in Fresno territory. 33rd minute here in the first half, and 1-0, Santiago Canyon with the lead. Garcia swings it across to Damien. Aguirre starts a move. Still on the drive. Poked away, but kept alive. Fresno still got it. Long shot out front, and Pedrosa sliding over. Rodriguez dialed that one up from about 35 yards.
Pedrosa really quick on her feet, good positionally, and I like the way that she's playing. So she's a nice wild card that Santiago Canyon has now. She doesn't even appear that she's been tested from what Fresno's played, but also positionally and technically how that she plays the game in gold.
Out of play, and we'll have a throw in for Santiago Canyon. Navarro giving chase, but can't keep it alive.
Jeff, ironically, you were talking about how if Santiago Canyon could shorten the game and be 0-0 at halftime, that it would be to their advantage. But not only that, if they take this to halftime and be 1-0.
Yeah, even better if you're Santiago Canyon. Well, I think we're talking about that it's reflective of a team that I think has played a pretty tough schedule and plays in a deep conference that they came out kind of absorbed the pressure of Fresno early, withstood a couple of attacks, and were able to get a feel, and then ultimately found a way to make a big play off of a free kick.
Yeah, absolutely, and it wasn't their first opportunity either. They when they get in the final third, they're dangerous. They just don't get there a lot.
It's on
Well, it goes back to something that we talked about in game number 1, too, versus, why just shots on goal or just chances can sometimes be a misleading number because it's the quality of the chances that ultimately will tell the tale, especially, in a situation like this where one quality chance might be all you need to walk out of here and be looking toward the finals.
Absolutely, and Fresno, although they've had positional superiority on the field in terms of where the game's been played and in terms of possessional superiority, but they haven't had that one really great opportunity. They've sort of been half chances and missed crosses and that type of thing.
Rams win it back here near midfield. Rodriguez off to Aguirre. Now something developing on the far side. Riston centers, but overshot her target. It's cleared out. Rams trying to keep it alive, and they do with Aguirre. Damien moving up. Garcia gets it back on the give and go. And again, poked away to the far side, but not all the way out.
As I watch the game a bit more for Fresno, I think Garcia is going to be really key. She sits in a hole in front of the back three and collects and distributes. And when she continues to find seams and is active with the ball, they can find her. And she seems to always be unmarked and has the ball at her feet. And I think that will be a key for Oliver and his girls going forward.
As opposed to Riston, who was double teamed and had the ball taken away on the previous possession, but the Rams able to get it back. Mounting another charge. Aguirre trying to dial one up, but whiffed. And it's cleared away. .37th minute. Well, the Rams have really enjoyed a pretty sizable advantage in time of possession, but ultimately having a lot of difficulty, especially in the last about 15 or 20 minutes, really getting into that last third of the field.
Yeah, and you can possess the ball as much as you want, but if you don't do anything effective or creative with it, it doesn't matter so much. The end result is trying to put it in the onion bag, as it's been referred to.
Rodriguez has that one poked away, but recovered by Navarro. Sent back out. Be a throw in for Fresno.
7-4.
Taylor Ashek checking on for Santiago Canyon.
Bracamonte back on to see if she can, probably a good tactical decision here by Oliver to see if they can free her up again and get her in for service and be dangerous like she was early in the first half.
Bracamonte reminds me in terms of skill set and watching, in terms of stature, a little bit like Riston on the far side, kind of a similar style on the wings.
Yeah, and that's
for Fresno City.
And that's what you want. You want that wide player when you play a 3-5-2. They have to be fit. They have to be very, very active. They've got to be able to and have the desire to get back and defend, but also be able to transition to get into the attack and give good service. So that's what you look for in those wide players. And when you play a 3-5-2 like Fresno's playing currently.
Throw in on the far side. Rams will just send this one back out. And the whistle against Santiago Canyon, so a free kick coming for Fresno. Aguirre will take it. Well, now Pacheco will wave her off and take it for the Rams. Lobs it into Santiago Canyon territory. They battle and the Rams have it. Bracamonte giving chase. able to keep it in. Rodriguez tries to lob, but too strong. But Santiago Canyon can't quite clear it out. Instead, Aguirre maintains possession. The Rams will reset. Oh, terrific play. Nearly keeping it alive.
Now we're into that 5 minutes that we talked about in the first match this morning in the men's game, that last 5 minutes, first 5 minutes of a half.
A charge developing momentarily, but it dissipates as Vanus couldn't quite track it down for Santiago Canyon. Rodriguez again gets it back. Lobs it into the box. Bracamonte coming in, but she can't quite get the handle as it's knocked away and over the end line. Should be a corner kick coming.
Same ball that we talked about before that Bracamonte got on the end of before and created service. That same ball that they're looking, but Santiago Canyon is starting to drop a little bit deeper now, and it's going to make that ball, it's going to be really difficult to drop that ball in behind.
So a corner kick coming for Fresno City. Sent over the box. The one-timer from outside, denied. Alkire blocked at the point over the end line. There should be another corner kick coming in the 41st minute.
Santiago Canyon defending with 10, so actually 11 if you include the goalkeeper. They're defending with their 10 field players, and Fresno committing a lot of players forward as well. Good opportunity here for Fresno to try and even this thing with, as we're getting to the 42nd minute.
Alkire will handle the corner kick. Lobs toward the front post, cleared but not out. In the box, another opportunity, blocked and cleared out to the near side, where it'll be kept alive by Bracamonte. But fought for and won by Santiago Canyon again, not all the way out. Damian keeping the pressure up and has to send it out, and it'll be a throw-in for Santiago Canyon. So the Hawks ward off the opportunity for Fresno City.
Santiago Canyon, I have 10 leaving.
So the throw-in will come in the 43rd minute. And is it too early to even consider the kind of strategy of ultimately really just trying to batten down the hatches, if you will, and try to ride out a 1-0 win here if you can?
I think you do it more selectively. I think when Fresno gets in possession and they have a wave, then you have to sort of batten it down, defend your end, stay compact. But it's too early to just sit in that and just release long balls out. I think at some point, and they've got Sosa back in, start finding a target up front and see if you can get some possession back, which they've had in small waves. And here comes Santiago Canyon again.
Vanus streaking down the far side, finds Sosa. Sosa moving left, down she goes. Pacheco with the loose ball, and she'll clear it out to the near side. It's going to be too strong for Bracamonte, and it'll be a throw-in for Santiago Canyon here as we wind toward the 44th minute. And I don't recall, but I don't expect that there's a whole lot of extra time here.
I haven't really seen any injuries or anything else other than substitution, so maybe a minute.
Quick throw in, and this is a rare trip into the offensive zone for Santiago Canyon, but don't be fooled. They've got the lead. Hawk, meanwhile, goes down, and the ball recovered by Fresno City.
The other thing, too, is we haven't seen a lot of fouls, so it's a reasonably free-flowing game.
Rodriguez for Bracamonte. Bracamonte makes a move. In from the right. Bracamonte streaking in, the shot wide of the net.
And that might have been her only opportunity because the players that were in the box were so far behind her, it was going to be hard for her to cut it back. But I think really you got to get that ball on frame, or you have to lay that little deft ball back behind that first layer of Santiago Canyon players, and hopefully you've got a runner coming onto it. A really good opportunity there for Fresno.
She had Alkire, but she really was a trailer. I think it was going to be a hard pass for her to make physically. Instead, she took the shot, and it was just wide of the mark.
That's the one where you have to be dangerous in the 44th minute and even this thing up going to halftime.
Aguirre has that one stolen. Sosa
Gosh, she's
battling
good
a
on the
couple
ball.
of Rams, and she's out with it. Sosa gets the pass off. Down to Gonzalez. Gonzalez in from the left. Just pitches this one forward, and it's an easy play for Castaneda.
Couldn't take advantage of her, and that's all from Sosa holding the ball at the midfield stripe, turning a player and getting the ball, and letting her get her own players into the attack.
Castaneda boots it. Sent back out by Hawk. Into extra time here. So we suspect fleeting time for Fresno City to mount something, and instead, Vanus comes up with the loose ball. Pacheco out to midfield and leaves it for Garcia. Zertucci just flicks that one out of play. Marked by Asiak. And Asiak will have the throw in. Looking for Sosa. And, you know, it does appear that when Sosa's there, she's the target, and they want to run the offense as much as possible through her.
But she's so strong on the ball, it's hard to dispossess her. You've seen them double down on her and then don't do that. But it doesn't appear she has the fitness to periods of time.
Bracamonte trying to close, but it's Pedrosa out aggressively. And that'll do it for the first half. We head to halftime 1-0. Santiago Canyon with the lead over Fresno City. You're watching the 3C2A Soccer Championships, the women's semifinals here on SoCalCollegeSports.com.
And remember, everybody, if you have friends or family that also could not make it to today's games, be sure to let them know that they can watch all of our broadcasts on our website at www.socalcollegesports.com or on our YouTube channel at SoCal College Sports 1.
And we welcome you back for the second half. Fresno City and Santiago Canyon, 1-0. The Hawks with the lead. And Santiago Canyon in the white jerseys will work from left to right. Here in the second half in Fresno in the red jerseys. And welcome back, Dave LaTourette. And Dave, halftime here in a 1-0 game, and you have to imagine as the teams huddle up, it's not a lot of big changes at this point, but anything that you see for what you might expect to see here in the second half as the teams come out?
I don't think we're going to see a lot of changes. I don't think there's any reason to see a lot of changes. It's a little too early for Santiago Canyon to try and just defend the 1-0 lead, but I think Fresno just has to continue to do some things that they do. Possess the ball, be patient on the ball, find particular players. And I still think they need to use their two wide players effectively. If they can use their two wide players effectively to get in behind, create service, get service in the box, I think they'll be really, really dangerous.
Riston and Bracamonte have been able to create some opportunities, and here's another opportunity developing with Soto in for the right. Launches, but it's wide left. And Soto able to find a little bit of space and a good look, but misfires on the shot here in the first minute of the second half.
And that's Santiago Canyon doing what they did effectively in the first half. Take their good opportunities, go forward, be committed, and create another opportunity. Maybe she could have hit that a little bit better. We want to get it on frame, but already Santiago Canyon dangerous.
And of course, as you talk about, the 1-0 lead is so precarious because a 2-0 lead is potentially lights out. If you're trailing, especially in the second half, it gets very, very thin to try and get back in the game.
Well, 2-0, and then all of a sudden Santiago Canyon can put more players behind the ball, and they can play more compact, and they don't have to feel as pressured to deal with that anymore. So
Pedrosa misfires a little bit on the one-timer, and it's out of play, and it'll be a throw-in for Fresno City. Zertucci will bring it in.
And it might be obvious to say, but the next goal, regardless of which way it goes, not only changes the game dramatically.
Tried to find Alkire, and it's cleared back out. And they'll retreat. Rams try to set up one more time. Kept alive by Bethencourt, and a battle. And that one knocked out of play. It'll stay with Santiago Canyon. On the throw-in, Ross Kelly, who struck the big blow with the goal in the first half. The throw-in will come from Asiak.
And as much as Santiago Canyon doesn't want to sit and just defend a 1-0 lead, they can take little small opportunities along the way on throw-ins and things like that to just milk a little time to get a little bit extra rest and recover a little bit. So if they're smart, they'll do that.
Meanwhile, a whistle on the turnover gives it back to Fresno. Rodriguez will throw in. Alkire has that one poked away by Ross Kelly. Bethencourt tries to chip it ahead, but overshot Soto. Zertucci just overshot Riston. Hawks with an opportunity to mount an attack the other way. Soto on the near side, marked by Garcia, and able to just get one rolling toward the net, but an easy play. Castaneda, a long kick. Sukfam had it for a moment. Ross Kelly beats Wilson, but now Wilson able to get it back. Wilson with no numbers. And this one going to be played back to Pedrosa, who will again try to one-time it and just sends this one out of play where it'll be a throw-in for Fresno City. And Wilson, that's the second time that she's made a similar type play where she's been able to smother the ball and get the steal.
In the first half, she was effective holding the ball, and she was dangerous. So I think the two wide players, Zertucci and Bracamonte, those two wide players, and then Wilson in the middle, and then Garcia, who's thrown in here, are going to be big keys for Fresno.
Out in front and cleared, but not entirely out, sent back in. And Pedrosa on the big hop, able to track that one down. It was Kalia Ashley who had sent it back in. Meanwhile, we have a Fresno City player still down, and it's Wilson, Anissa Wilson. And they'll take a look at her here in the 51st minute.
Pedrosa's strong and confident in goal. I like her a lot. I think she's going to be maybe the key to Santiago Canyon for the next 40 minutes.
And it'll help Wilson to her feet. Yeah, it was a collision between Pedrosa and Wilson, and Pedrosa pretty solid frame and
committed to the ball when she came for it.
So Pedrosa will have the ball. Big bounce, and Sukfam battling Solder, and instead it's going to go to Fresno City as they call Solder for the foul. Ashley has that one sent back out. One-timed back in. Sukfam trying to keep that one alive. Loose ball tracked down by Garcia. Fresno City still has it. Ashley fans it out. Bracamonte on the drive, centers right through the goal mouth. Nobody home. Cleared back out by Santiago Canyon, and the Hawks starting to live a little dangerously here.
And Jeff, that's what we talked about, getting Bracamonte like in behind, get her on the ball, let her create good service, and unfortunately Fresno, no layers in the attack there to get anybody on the end of it.
Gorastisa sends it across to Ashley.
And they're going to do the same thing again here. She's probably going to try and find her wide.
This time goes toward the middle, and it's cleared away. Back out to midfield. And this is a little bit of what we saw in the first half with Fresno City maintaining long periods of control. Centering pass, terrific feed. Wilson just over the crossbar.
Good combination play on the top of the box again. That ball from Bracamonte, penetrating ball in, combination play, off they go to goal. So Fresno City has found a little bit of rhythm here in the second half, getting into the rhythm of the things that they do really well that's gotten them to this point, and they need to continue to do that and persist, even if it's still 1-0 in the 89th minute.
That might be two of the best looks that they've had in the first 53 minutes.
I'd agree.
Especially back to back.
Especially the first one that Bracamonte played across that got bypassed the goalkeeper and was inside the 6 box, but they had no one on the back post to get on the end of that.
So a free kick coming for Santiago Canyon. Played ahead and back out. Wilson trying to keep it alive on the far side, and it'll be a throw in for Santiago Canyon. Long throw in looking for Soto. Cleared back. Trying to set up the give and go, looking for Ross Kelly. Sukfam able to clear it out. Stolen back, another opportunity for a push. Soto on the left side. That one's knocked out of play by Pacheco, and this will set up a corner kick for Santiago Canyon. Well, a couple of good looks for Fresno City, who appeared to be getting their rhythm, but then right out of that, Santiago Canyon now a chance to set something up here on the corner kick.
But this isn't any different than we've seen for the first 54 minutes. Fresno had a lot of the play, a lot of the rhythm. Santiago Canyon gets into a counterattack mode and they find a very dangerous player in Soto up front. She's crafty and quick. She doesn't show it that way, but she's always dangerous.
The low kick blocked out front and cleared away, but not out. Rams trying to dig it out, but instead the Hawks able to keep it in, and it's finally cleared, and it's right near the corner on the far side. I don't know if this is a corner kick. It looks like it's just going to be a throw-in. And the throw-in will be handled by Kennedy Hawk. Blocked back out. The one-timer comes in wide. Solder trying to dial one up from outside the box.
You look at the 10 minutes gone by, Jeff, and Santiago Canyon probably takes a peek up and says, okay, 35 minutes. And it's going to go that way. I still think they can get another goal, but at some point you're going to find Fresno starting to put a little bit more pressure on and Santiago Canyon having to absorb.
Hawk in from the left. Ashley there. And Ashley plays this one off of Kennedy Hawk, and it'll go back to Fresno City here in the 56th minute. So Bracamonte will send it back into Castaneda. Well, unlike in our first game, these two teams have not played each other, and in fact, the teams from the four schools here haven't had as much head-to-head coming into the match, and it's hard to say who that favored, but so far, obviously, it's favored Santiago Canyon.
And sometimes you don't know if you don't find favorable scouting reports, because a lot of times when you get to the Final Four, if you haven't played anybody, you have a South versus a North team, and if you're a South coach or North coach vice versa, and you call someone from the other team that's played from that region, they might not be willing to give up their Southern or Northern.
Yeah, where's the allegiance there?
Yeah.
Is it to your fellow coaches, or is it geographic here?
And I think there's a little bit of both. I think what happens over the years, if you're a long-standing coach, you've been around for a while, you probably have your allegiances, and you probably you have your relationships you've developed, or relationships that maybe aren't adversarial, and so it's going to change from coach to coach. And what happens is we see it. We've called coaches to ask for scouts, like when we were playing Fresno, and we just don't expect to get any feedback from, and they politely say, hey, listen, they're in our conference, I'm not going to give you anything, and we respect that 100%, but it's always worth the phone call.
Garibay sends it across. Bracamonte on the drive, tries the lead pass to Wilson. Wilson in from the right, centering pass, tie game!
And Jeff, there's the three players we talked about. Wilson on the end of it, but Bracamonte and Zertucci, all three of them involved on the goal. So the three of them we talked about being crucial players in the equation, and they're all involved on that goal. 1-1 Fresno gets the one back, 58th minute. Oh, so it wasn't Wilson.
It was Wilson with the centering pass, and Riston who finished with the goal, and we have a brand new game tied at 1. And now if you're Santiago Canyon, you got to go back to work.
And look at the energy of Fresno right now. They come out straight away trying to press it, and Santiago Canyon gets out of it really, really well. So maybe a good chance for Santiago Canyon to take advantage of that.
Well, I think you have to be very impressed with Fresno City. There didn't seem to be a lot of panic, both in the remainder of the first half, and then coming out here in the second half, we had the sense that they were starting to get into a rhythm, and it's what you would expect from a team that's outscored their opponents 145-5 on the season. There's a lot of confidence that they could eventually get one.
Confidence, in the word that we're having a discussion at halftime, and the word I was using was resilience and a resilient team. And Fresno is showing that they're a resilient team with the way that they've come out and taken care of that.
Well, you have the sense as you watch this that when you can get quality chances, that really keeps your confidence up. Because you have the feeling, I imagine, as a player, as Riston is fouled and will have a free kick, that if you can keep on getting those good quality chances, that one of them's going to go.
Yeah, and when you keep getting them and you're getting good, clean chances, then you have the confidence we're going to get another one, and we're going to get another one. But when you're getting half chances, it's very, very different. But Fresno is getting clear chances, and they're going to look to take advantage here.
Garibay will handle the free kick. Launches to the far side of the box. Headed high, not out. Kept in by Garcia, but over the end line. It'll be recovered, and
looks like an offside.
Santiago Canyon will have it back the other way here as we approach the 61st minute in a brand new ball game tied at 1.
So we have a 30-minute match. This is not too different than our first game this morning.
Yeah, well, we'll see if somebody can get on the board before we make it all the way to penalty kicks, but tie ball game in the second half, and the Rams are back. Wilson can't track that one down. Instead, it's sent out of play, and we'll have a throw in for Fresno on the far side. And, I have the feeling, Davis, to look at this game, that you have the feeling that Santiago Canyon needs to make an adjustment right here.
Well, they do now. Now they can't just sit in bunker lane, and I don't think they can absorb 30 minutes plus 30 minutes of overtime and drag it out any longer. I think they have to continue to go back to the way that they were trying to find a target player up front and use those 3 or 4 attacking players to create successful chances.
The throw in, not entirely out. Sukfam tried to dial one up, and it was blocked at the point and sent back out, and it'll be another throw in for Fresno City.
Because when Santiago Canyon looks at it, they're like, okay, we're back to an even match. It's a 30-minute match. Let's just keep doing what we were doing in the first half, and they've had a couple opportunities in the second half, but it also appears that Wilson and Bracamonte have come to life a little bit here again in the second half for Fresno.
Tracked down by Garcia.
I just keep finding Garcia. If it's not on, find her, and if they take her away, there's going to be opportunities. She does a good job of finding seams and receiving the ball. So the 20 for Fresno.
Ashley fires it into the box. Wilson couldn't quite find the handle, but Bracamonte streaking in and tried to center, but Pedrosa positioned well. And she'll try to start a counter going back the other way. Long pass up ahead. Soto trying to track it down, battling Pacheco, but it's Pacheco who will win it for Fresno City. Pacheco drops the pass for Riston. Back outside. Hard drive by Zertucci. Looking for Wilson, but overshot the target. Sent back out to midfield. Gorostisa giving chase. Big collision with Gonzalez going down for Santiago Canyon, but a clean play, and play will continue.
Fresno has to continue being patient on the ball. When all the players are running away, the whole front 3 or 4 were running away from that ball, and they just forced it in, and it was an easy ball for Santiago Canyon to win and come back out. So when that happens, the player that's on the ball, if she has time, needs to just hold it and ask for players to show back just by holding on to the ball instead of forcing it in and making it easy for Santiago Canyon.
You know, another thing, we made the point about Santiago Canyon and the fact that this is one of the real top flight programs year after year. To that point, 13 straight championships in the Orange Empire Conference, but they've also been here in the Final Four 7 of the last 11 years. So don't expect them to be overwhelmed by the prospect of playing an undefeated team in Fresno City, but also I would expect them to make a good adjustment here in the final 30 minutes of this game, because there's no substitute for experience.
No,
I think at this level and playing in this type of format.
And when you've been there as a coaching staff, or if you've got players who've been here before, it does make a big difference, because they understand what the moment is like, and they understand the pressure, and really that pressure is pressure you put on yourself, because as a player, you have to want to be here. You have to. It's what you play for the entire year. So in my opinion, there's no pressure. It's pressure you put on yourself because you want to perform well. That's about it.
Throw in coming for Fresno as we wind toward the 65th minute. I'm going to tell you one other player while we're talking about some of the players in the game. I really like what Kalia Ashley has been doing for Fresno as well, working on that far side for Fresno City. And here in the second half in particular, I think she's helped ignite a couple of good scoring opportunities. And this is Ashley.
Yeah, there she is.
With the ball.
She's quick on the ball. She's just like Garcia in the middle of the park, but she's coming out of the back. And if I was an opposing team, to know that one of their three backs could come out and go forward like that, I'd be leery of her.
Yeah, got a little too much of a head of steam going. Lost the ball, but Fresno ultimately able to control. And now they will reset. The move from Garibay, and lost the handle, and now a counter perhaps developing. Touch pass ahead for Roskelly, looking for Soto, but overshot in Pacheco.
And this is where the Santiago Canyon starting to look a little bit fatigued with that type of ball in the first half or earlier in the match, was getting into Soto's feet, and they were able to create some opportunity from it, but that ball there was not even close.
This one's sent back. Bracamonte streaking in from the right, still on the drive, wants to center, but it's knocked out of play. Great job getting back, Savannah Knight. It'll set up a corner kick.
And we're starting to see signs of fatigue from Santiago Canyon. That ball gets played in. She's clearly onside. Bracamonte was a Santiago Canyon player on the outside back, number 25, I think it was. Put her hand up like it was offside, and all of a sudden Bracamonte's in and inside the box, causing havoc like she's done the entire match.
Yeah, Knight the last line. They pass on the corner kick. Now they'll chip it in front, and Wilson's header is just over the crossbar.
And the body language is changing for Santiago Canyon. You see the fatigue. You can see even just their hand gestures from where we are. There's a little bit of frustration of, hey, who was marking her? Why wasn't she marked? They didn't put anybody out on that corner kick to defend a two-man. So the wave is coming from Fresno right now.
And what can you do if you're Ian Woodhead on the sideline for Santiago Canyon?
I think what you have to do is when they have a goal kicker, there's a moment where you have the ball and it's a set piece. You can say, hey, you have to have some kind of key words. And it's basically a 25-minute match right now. Don't change anything. Let's get the work rate and the energy level back to where it was.
Aguirre with the free kick. Launches it into the box. Sent back out. Pacheco will reset for Fresno. They try for the give and go. And this one's sent out of play, and it'll be a throw in for Fresno City. Goristiza will bring it in.
And if you're Santiago Canyon, it might be a time to take Soto or somebody out and put Sosa back in up top. The big target player who's really good at holding the ball, and maybe let Santiago Canyon get some numbers into the attack too for a little bit.
Goristiza able to win it for Fresno City. Aguirre wants to switch the attack. Across to Ashley. Ashley marked by Soto. Garibay.
Really smart. Keep possession. Don't try to force anything. If you're Fresno, try to move Santiago Canyon around a bit and fatigue them a little bit more, and just be patient on the ball. There's no reason to force it right now.
Riston working to the far side, trying to find a lane. Starts a drive. Drops it for Aguirre.
Fresno doing a good job of probing, but also maintaining possession.
Goristiza in from the left. Fans it out.
That's a good ball.
Zertucci can't keep it alive on the end line, and it'll go back to Santiago Canyon.
Good patience. She finds a seam and gets it in. You know, Zertucci and Bracamonte have been so dangerous on the wide.
Pedrosa. And this is one of the points you talked about. Pedrosa going to take a little time here and in no hurry. And right now it's the Hawks who are on their heels a little bit.
And this is an opportunity right now if Santiago Canyon does need to make some adjustments while there's a little bit of lull in play. Catch their breath, take a deep breath, take that extra 30 seconds of recovery to have to deal with another Fresno wave of attack.
Zertucci working right. Dials it up from long range, but it's a one-hopper and an easy play for Pedrosa.
As we talked about in the first match when we had Cerritos and Taft, and Cerritos' team speed, like it seemed to be almost at every position they had better pace than Taft. It didn't win the game, but it's tough to deal with, and right now you can see that coming out in Fresno, whether it's a better level of fitness or whether it's just more team speed or just individual speed. You can see it in Fresno currently.
Garibay at midfield. Enters it in. Bracamonte battling, but picks up the foul, and the ball will belong to Santiago Canyon.
Did a nice job of finding Alkire up front for Fresno as a target player, but she should just hold the ball. If she just holds the ball, doesn't need to force it in over the top, let them get another layer of players into the attack, and Fresno's very dangerous when they do that.
Fresno continues to dominate in terms of time of possession here in the second half. Gorostiza on the drive into the box. Gorostiza still on the drive, and that one knocked out of play. This should be a corner kick coming.
Good defending by Santiago Canyon. They just run with her, force her into a bad angle. Her hips are turned away from the goal. They got a corner kick, but it's better than maybe a service out of the run of play. So not bad from Santiago Canyon, but again, Fresno incredibly dangerous as they're starting to build momentum here as we're in the 71st minute.
Savannah Knight able to knock that one out of play. Here comes the corner from Aguirre. Hooked into the box. It's out front, cleared, not quite out, kept alive. Garibay wants to center again, blocked at the point, sent out, and it's Soto who finally knocks it out of play on the far side. It'll be a throw in for Ashley. Ashley with the high archer. Pedrosa out and takes it on a big hop.
Pedrosa probably going to hold the ball for another 3 or 4 seconds, and I don't think she's going to get any danger from the referee, but it's going to let her own players get a little bit higher in the attack so they have more numbers around the ball when she plays that, because she does play a good ball.
Possible rush developing, but Ashley squelches it. Has the steal, finds Bracamonte.
Really strong tackle from Ashley and good pace out of it.
Bracamonte streaking into the Hawk zone. Tries to leave it. But the pass a little bit off the mark, and instead the Hawks get it back.
I feel like Bracamonte has a little turbo switch that she can hit when she needs to use it. And good players are like that. Use only as much speed as you need to, and then flip that switch when you can.
And unlike most video games that we played, it doesn't appear that she runs out of turbo.
No, she just has it. But I guess you earn it through your training and through your fitness, so she earns it at some point.
This one out of play, and it'll be a throw-in for Santiago Canyon here in the 73rd minute. Going to have a couple of subs.
I'll follow the first row coming in on this side. I got 16 in.
Lauren Bethencourt going to check out. And Bethencourt's been one of the offensive bright spots for Santiago Canyon. They've been few and far between as this game is going on.
And I think at this point in the season, I would think you take her out, give her 5 minutes, and she comes straight back on. If they're trying to play beyond, unless they're trying to play beyond 90.
Vanus with a little space. Garibay giving chase along with Aguirre, and it's Garibay who quickly is able to close the distance and come away with the steal. And there's some of the turbo you were talking about from Garibay.
Turn on the turbo and use the speed, and you can't, I said it earlier, you can't coach speed and use your speed to get back in transition defending.
Ortega in from the left, tries to center. Out, but not all the way out, and it's Solder from way out front who launches one over the crossbar.
Not a bad opportunity right there. She doesn't have to hit it really hard, but be a little more precise with it. Get it on goal and give yourself a chance. Make the goalkeeper make a save or spill a ball, hit the post, but be a little bit more precise and just keep that ball in frame. get to this point of the season and this point of a match where we're starting to talk about the last 1 or 2% to get everything you can out of yourself and inevitably out of your team.
Couple of changes here for Fresno City, and we see Madison Fisher and Consuela Luna, and those are players that haven't logged as many minutes today, and is this maybe an eye toward giving players a few minutes on the bench and trying to get them ready, anticipating the possibility of overtime?
I think you have to do it, and he probably has a certain amount of time where, players will play 30, and that's just a normal routine where they play 30 and then sit for 15, or they sit for 10, or they sit for 5. At this point of the year, you sort of have your workhorses that you go to, where normally you might give them 10 minutes, but maybe now you only give them 5.
Alkire trying to corral it, and it's sent out of play. Throw in coming for Fresno City.
The other thing you have to believe, too, that both of these programs, with some of their victories that are in the air that are multiple goal victories, how many of the players that are going to play 70 to 90 today normally play 70 to 90?
Yeah, it's true. It's a unique problem to have if you've really been dominating your competition.
And I think if you're as a coach, if you have your whole system organized, then you selectively know that's the way it's going to be across the year. Then a player might only play 50 minutes in September, and then they get used to playing 65 minutes by the end of October, and then in November they can play 80 minutes. And when you get to this point, it's also, like you said, a nice luxury that maybe this time of year players are just coming into their own and at the most fit, as opposed to getting broken down.
Pedrosa's kick is sent back the other way quickly. Ashley and Soto, and it's Ashley who comes away with it for Fresno City. Back to Pacheco. 77th minute. Garcia with a good move.
Speaking of playing time, I don't think Garcia has come out of the match, so she sits in front of the back three, and she's done that the entire game, and she's been very, very good at it.
Similar to the way that Cerritos was using Guy Carvin?
Almost identical to the way that they used Guy Carvin.
Soto in space, but nobody with her for Santiago Canyon. Soto moves right, has that shot blocked by Pacheco and cleared away. Wilson can't quite corral it. Sent back into Hawk territory. Nice one-timer from Asiak, but the pass broken up. Luna gets it back from Wilson. Luna in from the left, has Alkire. This is Alkire giving chase, and it's knocked out of play. Nice job on the slide tackle. Kennedy Hawk
well defended,
able to knock that one out, and should be a corner kick coming.
Yellow card to Fresno's 14. It's obviously something that happened earlier in the play that the ref held it in his pocket until he had the opportunity.
Jasmine Aguirre picking up the yellow card here in the 78th minute, and it's Aguirre who will handle the corner kick. Tied at 1. So many weapons here for Fresno City on a corner kick. Launched toward the far post. And Alkire couldn't get anything on net. So Santiago Canyon will have it back. Again, we see Pedrosa taking a little time off the clock. Coming up, it'll be the Fresno City men taking on Mount San Antonio College. Semifinal number 2 on the men's side earlier today. Taft advancing, winning it 4-1 in penalty kicks, upsetting Cerritos.
Second game has I think there's plots and subplots within it. There's the obvious plot that it's the Final Four game. It's a semifinal match to get to the final, but then you have the history from last year. They played each other in the finals and went to penalty kicks, and then you have another plot underneath that if Fresno were to advance, we have an all-North final, and not only an all-North final, but the same 2 teams from the same conference that tied for a conference championship this year, and so there's lots of little fun subplots within that match that's going to start at 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah, and it's it's a game that is almost certain to deliver. It's two of the top programs, obviously, not just this season, but really year after year. And
yeah,
as you talked about, an interesting matchup of styles, too, a little bit of a different approach.
I think we're going to have two, which is the first match from Taft and Cerritos. We saw similar styles of play. And much as this game has a little bit of difference in tactical and style of play approach, they both play similar systems. That game this afternoon is going to be, or after this, is going to be two very different personalities and styles of play going up against each other.
And we still have some business to attend to here. And I'm not sure what's going on. We've had a pretty long break. And, I would be tempted to say, well, that favors Santiago Canyon while they sort some things out here. But, Fresno City is really amped up right now. And then they just got a nice little rest, maybe just when they needed it to continue the pressure.
Depends on how, at this point, it just depends on how a team handles it. I think Santiago Canyon's been absorbing some pressure. And if they needed to make any adjustments, they would have had an opportunity there to do it.
Luna's pass is broken up, but Fresno City maintains control. Aguirre splits a double team, tries to center, looking for Alkire.
And that's a situation I talked about earlier, a player on the ball, and all the Fresno players, they're all running away from the ball. One player has to show and hold to receive a ball, and they play a little combination play, and they need to do that. If they do that, they're going to get themselves another couple opportunities.
Boy, Vanus really had an opportunity there. Instead, she leaves it outside for Asiak. The centering pass broken up by Pacheco. Asiak pressuring from behind, able to poke it away. Santiago Canyon can't maintain control. Instead, it's Alkire who wins the ball, sends it outside. Frankie Navarro has returned for Fresno City. That one's poked out of play. There was a pass, a lead pass for Vanus on the previous possession. And I feel like if Vanus had gotten ahead of steam going, she might have had some open field.
I would agree with that. It's against Santiago Canyon, when they do get forward, it seems to be dangerous. It doesn't seem to be something half-hearted.
Goristisa. Back to the right. A one-timer, but nobody home, and it's Asiak. And is this a handball?
I believe so.
Asiak played this one. Tried to control, but bounced it off her arm, and the handball is going to give a free kick just outside the box.
Really good opportunity for Fresno, of course, because of where it is, but even more so if they want to put extra numbers in the box. So I'm surprised Oliver doesn't take another player and put him in the box because they have good transitional speed to get back and fitness to get back. So I think Fresno could almost risk taking one of this back three and drop them in the hole between the 18 and where they're standing right now. Make sure they win that knockdown ball if it does come back out.
Aguirre with the approach, just over the crossbar.
Over the bar, but in the end, against a good goalkeeper, not very dangerous. Also have to think now, Jeff, how quickly does Fresno come back with Bracamonte or Wilson or Zertucci or all three of them, because they're really the ones that were creating the majority of the opportunities.
Yeah, and it's interesting right now as you take a look, none are on the field.
Correct.
Riston not on the field, Wilson not on the field, Bracamonte not on the field.
As we say that, I think two of them have magically appeared on the far touch side.
Nothing magic about it, I think. Oliver Germond obviously thinking about getting his most dangerous players on the field.
And we're gonna get him. We're gonna get him right now. I think Zertucci is one of them, and maybe Bracamonte. My eyesight isn't that good, but
it does look like Bracamonte. And Zertucci returning.
There are two little race horses that like to play wide.
Well, now, talk about also the strategic implications of, you had mentioned something about if it does make it to penalty kicks, the player has to appear during overtime at some point?
No, they actually have to be on the field. So they actually have to be on the field when the whistle sounds to be able to take penalty kicks.
Something that might yet be important before it's all said and done. Alkire's centering pass is cleared out, but Ashley keeps it back in. Aguirre giving chase. And Pacheco will one-time it. Back into Santiago Canyon territory. It's kept alive. Alkire.
And that's not a bad ball in over. Try and get that ball over the top considering the pace that Fresno has.
Cleared away once again. Ashley lost the handle. Long pass ahead to Soto, but Pacheco got there first. Ashley will try again. 4 back, though, for Santiago Canyon, and well defended. Kennedy Hawk able to get that to Pedrosa. Zertucci tries to keep it in and does. Ross Kelly whiffed on the one-timer. Aguirre. Lobbing this one, looking for Zertucci, but instead it's cleared away on the near side, and we'll have a throw-in for Fresno City. We're in the 86th minute.
I think we start to, at this point, you're going to have 2 coaches with 2 different mentalities. I think Fresno's going to want to win this in regulation, and Santiago Canyon maybe at this point is just going to want to hang on and preserve and make sure they don't give one up.
Alkire working back left, but can't get an angle. But it is off of Santiago Canyon, so a corner kick coming. It'll be Aguirre who will bring it in.
Santiago Canyon's going to drop at least 9 of their 10 back into the box, and Fresno's going to hold 3, which I think probably systematically is what they're used to, but maybe in this situation it's maybe a better chance to put more numbers in the box.
Aguirre's cornered to the top of the box. Garcia tried to keep it in. Zertucci recovers. Back out to Ashley.
Great first touch by Ashley.
Ashley tries to enter and does. Looked like Marissa Galarte, who had a brief look, but couldn't get a shot on goal. Watson for Fresno City, trying to keep it alive. And Bracamonte finally able to recover. And the Rams will look to mount another charge here in the 87th minute. Aguirre.
As good as Fresno's been, I've been pretty impressed with Santiago Canyon and their patience to defend and not dive in a lot on Fresno.
Zertucci trying to center. Ostiak able to deflect that one out of bounds. Another corner kick coming.
It's still 88th minute. Fresno still holds 3 right now. You would think Oliver German might, oh, there he is. He's committed Ashley into the box. So a little more urgency and say, hey, listen, if they're not going to hold anybody back, let's put more numbers in. Let's take the most of this opportunity.
Aguirre angles, and Pedrosa high up.
Really well taken by Pedrosa. She's really good. Good extension on that ball. Gets her hands on top of it and releases nicely. I got to find her feet right
Long
there.
pass ahead to Soto, and Soto can't come up with it, and Castaneda.
They need to find Soto's feet and not just play that ball up over there. She's got no one to flick that ball onto, so find her feet, and then they can combine off her and get more numbers into the attack.
When we talked about attacking more on the flanks, and we haven't seen Santiago Canyon, it would appear, do that much in the second half. It's been a lot more attacks down the middle.
And I think that's where they're more effective. They have the one high forward, they can find their feet, and then they play combination off of it.
A chance developing here as Vanus tries to center.
Where Fresno just the opposite. They're 2 of their most dangerous players, have their pace on the wide, and they've been affected by getting in behind Santiago Canyon.
Long kick from Castaneda. Alkire. Tried to get something going toward the goal, but it's knocked out of play, and it will go back to Santiago Canyon.
This game has an eerie similarity to our first match, our men's match with Taft and Cerritos.
Well, and I think there's a possible lesson in there that might be gleaned, and that is that we had the feeling that Taft, had an opportunity to press, and they didn't. And I guess it was prescient as it turns out because they went to penalty kicks.
Yeah.
But it's I think there's always a risk in that sense. Anything can happen once it gets to penalty kicks. You have the decided feeling that Cerritos was quite happy to get there,
very happy.
and then it turned out that it was exactly what the doctor ordered for Taft, and they were able to advance. And Fresno City appears to have every advantage here right now in terms of the dynamic of how this game is playing out. But if they make the mistake, or if Santiago Canyon is able to ultimately get this to penalty kicks, well, anything can happen at that point.
Right, in that first match, we said, and I think we both agreed, and I talked to a couple coaches between matches, and I said, I don't know, was it me or did Cerritos almost seem more dangerous in overtime, down a man, than Taft did? And they all agreed, and some people thought that Taft ran out of gas. And same thing that we talked about. It was a little bit surprising to run out of gas that much that early in overtime. So is it an energy expended thing early in the game, which we thought both teams with the pace of that match was being played at, or is it a fitness thing and how they manage their fitness across the year or across the match? But
meanwhile, Bethencourt helped to her feet for Santiago Canyon, and so she will head off as we move into extra time here. And well, we've gone overtime in one game, and we appear to be headed there again.
Yeah, we're definitely in almost in that territory, but I think we're going to have an extra 4 or 5 minutes in this match. There were a couple discussions with referees that were talking to coaches on the side, and we have a couple injury stoppages, so we might see at least 3 or 4 minutes.
Well, let's ask a question here that I will ask, and sort of be the brave one to step forward here and ask a question that might seem a little bit elementary on the surface, but given that Santiago Canyon appears to be still really having a lot of difficulty mounting huge offensive opportunities as Vanus tries to get something going down the flank, but Aguirre giving chase and knocks it out of play. What's the downside, or what's the danger here from Fresno City not committing even more into the box and really trying to pressure when the other team is not mounting the kind of counters that would seem to give you pause?
And Santiago Canyon hasn't really had a good counter in over 30 minutes, so I don't see any reason why Fresno, when they get the chance, if they're in position in the final third, commit more numbers. The worst thing that could happen is that they're playing 1v1, and like Cerritos did earlier today, they're good at that professional foul, just following somebody early so that counter attack never materializes.
This one on goal, and the follow just wide.
Wow, the second ball saved by the goalkeeper. She was blinded, it looked like. And then the second ball, I believe it was the number 7 from Santiago Canyon. Vanus had a great opportunity to almost end this game.
Well, it would have been particularly fitting if I had been asking why not commit more if just then a counter had materialized. But that does seem to be my unique gift in bringing about.
I feel like a broken record when I say when Santiago Canyon gets into these situations, corner kicks or whatever, they seem to always get something. And whether it's just the way today has happened, it's the way that they always play, or that they know how to create that opportunity and be dangerous with it.
Well, that's maybe one of the best looks of the entire second half for either team.
That probably, for sure, is the best look Santiago Canyon has had.
And meanwhile, here is Vanus again. Going to send this one forward, and Pacheco there first to clear it back out. In extra time, Luna on the near side, working back toward the middle. Still looking, and the pass off the mark and cleared back out where Ashley will have to recover.
A little bit of panic there where she maybe could have held the ball and just kept carrying it across the top of the box and looked to get someone in behind.
Zertucci has that one knocked away. Taylor Asiak. And you've heard me call the name Asiak along with Kennedy Hawk quite a bit, the defenders for Santiago Canyon, and with good reason. They've been very busy here, especially in the second half.
And they're going to be very tired.
Soto can't quite corral it, and Gorostisa will send it across. Pacheco.
I think maybe the spectators are going to be happy if they're paying for their ticket to get into these matches. If they're staying for all of them, might be getting a lot of bonus soccer today.
A little bit of bumping as that one was going on, and this is going to be a free kick for Fresno, and Aguirre will take the free kick as Bracamonte was bumped.
like you said, Fresno here, this is where they can commit numbers because Santiago Canyon's got everybody behind the ball, and they're not doing that.
Aguirre chips it into the box where it is headed out, and Ross Kelly will clear. All the way back to Castaneda. And Castaneda launches this one back into the Santiago Canyon end of the field, and a collision there, and everyone appears to be okay. Meanwhile, Estillo on a chance, perhaps, for a quick counter, but nothing develops.
Fresno's got to look to possess and not panic here. Maybe get one more good opportunity.
The pass from Aguirre is intercepted by Vanus, but Aguirre gets it back. Good pressure from Zertucci helped to bring that about. Wilson has returned, and Wilson gets a little shove, but able to keep the ball, and Aguirre will fan it out to Ashley. Ashley on the approach in extra time. Tries to chip it to the front of the box, sent back out where Bethencourt will come up with it. Makes a little move on Aguirre. And that is the end of stoppage time. Heading to overtime once again. We're tied at 1. Santiago Canyon and Fresno City College. Nothing resolved through regulation. We head to overtime at SoCalCollegeSports.com. We head to overtime number 1. For overtime number 1.
2 and 4. I'm off.
Santiago Canyon in the white jerseys. Fresno in the red. Garibay had the steal, maintains possession. Tries to make a move on Solder, but Solder able to pick that one away and send it back to midfield. And Fresno City forced to regroup, and we'll have a throw in now on the far side, or I should say a foul call, and a free kick coming for Ashley. Pacheco will take the free kick on the far side. Looking for Aguirre, and it slides underneath. Aguirre battling and has it back.
Here we go.
Trying to center, and the ball knocked out of play. Aguirre will regroup. Ashley with the throw in. Into the box. Bracamonte thought about a one-timer, but it comes back out, and the call will give it back to Santiago Canyon.
We'll see who's regrouped well coming out of the break, Jeff, and if anyone's made any tactical changes, which it doesn't appear to be at this point, and we're going to a test of fitness now and discipline and see which coaches decide to go to their benches and use more of their players. It seems like Fresno, Oliver's has a certain rhythm and routine that he's used in both halves with his players and his substitutions, and we'll see what overtime materializes like. This is the time where coaches need to start looking at matchups and decide who's playing well today, who's had good opportunities, who's created opportunities, and generally who's dangerous.
And Alkire pushed, and the ball will stay with Fresno City. Well, I think the answer to that question has been the speed on the outside. I think has been the most problematic, and I would say Bracamonte, along with Riston, with Wilson working in the center, has been a devastating combination. Really, not just today, but all season.
No,
certainly.
I agree, and that's been the most dangerous. Wilson in the middle. I like Garcia in front of the back three, distributing, holding balls, distributing, finding seams. Bracamonte on the wide, and I don't think they've used Bertucci as much as I think they can with her pace, which I think she's equally as quick as Bracamonte is on the opposite side.
Solder able to send that one out of bounds on the far side. The throw-in will belong to Fresno City.
Fresno seems to be a little bit more right-sided, but if they can change the point of the attack through Garcia in the middle, find Bertucci, and then get Santiago Canyon off balance, I think that would be a wise thing to try and do.
Alkire does a nice job shielding off, but then can't corral the long throw-in. Meanwhile, Bracamonte has recovered. Centering into the box, batted around. Alkire with the one-timer, and it's on the mark, but right to Pedrosa.
Coach, second overtime game that we've seen today. What kind of advantage from a coaching perspective does that create for the games, or the winner of the games later today?
Oh, for the teams later today, it's huge. So, for example, Mount Sac and Fresno play, and they only play 90. There's a big difference in guys having to play an extra 30 minutes and turn around and play again 24 hours or 48 hours later at the most. So, big advantage if you win today and don't have to go any more than 90.
Right.
All the research that we see in performance modeling, it's saying that now. It takes more than 48 hours to recover from a regular match, let alone a match that's 120 minutes.
Any conversation as to moving possibly Thursday, Sunday versus Friday, Sunday?
You know, at this level, I don't think it's an equation. I think that we're looking at community college. We're talking about budgets and other things like that. So I think it's fair to play Friday, Sunday. But when we look at some of the NCAA, I think the Division I, when there's budgets and opportunities and resources there, if we want a higher quality final, I think they should move it to Thursday, Sunday, especially since we're starting to see some of the schools, for instance, like in the Pac-12 and in the SEC and things like that, they're not playing Friday, Sundays anymore. They're trying to play Thursday, Sundays too, for player safety, player health, player performance, and just better quality soccer at the end of the day.
into the corner, giving chase and running out of room. Looked like Garibay on the far side. It was Riston who ran out of real estate. And it will hand the ball to Pedrosa. Pedrosa chips it to the near side. Vanus trying to keep it in play and can't. So a throw in coming for Zertucci in Fresno City. Quickly in. Alkire tries to center, but nobody's there.
Good quick throwing from Zertucci, ball into feet, and then a little bit rushed in terms of how quickly it got played.
Yeah, Simmons doing a great job marking Alkire and really forced that turnover. A counter developing here for Santiago Canyon, but Ashley able to step in front, get it back for Fresno City. I'm sorry about that, Dave.
No, I was going to say Santiago Canyon's chances are going to be few and far between here in overtime, and I think they just need to keep doing what they're doing. Be patient and find their target players' feet and be dangerous playing off of that when they get the opportunity.
Goristiza has this one deflected out of play. No, I believe they're going to say this is off of Goristiza. So the throw in coming for Santiago Canyon as we move into the 7th minute here, overtime number 1. And again, this is not a golden goal situation. It'll be 2 overtime periods, 15 minutes each, no matter what the score.
We had that discussion. I don't know if it was between games, but I think since we have the opportunity with the way we play in the CCCAA is that we can so you don't write your own rules, but we can have adapted rules. And I think for quality of play and again player health, player safety, player performance, I think these games would be better suited to be played golden goal. So if someone gets one, credit to them in the 3rd minute or into overtime, then they should be given credit that they don't have to play another 27 minutes to win the game.
Aguirre.
Would also create some excitement too.
Goristiza. And Aguirre will try to switch the attack, finding Riston on the far side. Or rather, this is Bracamonte. Bracamonte, hard drive on the right side, looking for the center. In from the right, back for Alkire, off the crossbar. The header. Pedrosa's got it.
Wow.
Well, that was all set up by the speed of Bracamonte.
Yeah, and a terrific diagonal ball. We talked about getting into the corners, over the top, into those corners against the back 3, and they did it right there.
Meanwhile, Riston in control on the near side. Lobs for the center. Batted around. It's still loose. And a whistle comes in, and this is going to work against Alkire, I believe.
If I were Fresno, I would try to find every opportunity that I could to take Bracamonte, isolate her with whoever's defending her, and let her get the ball to the end line.
Pedrosa sends it out, and Aguirre right back in to the near side, near the sideline. Garibay challenging, but it'll belong to Santiago Canyon. And again, this one played off of Garibay again. Taylor Osiak will have the throw in. It's been pretty relentless pressure from Fresno, starting about midway through that first half and all throughout the second half.
Yeah, and when they go forward, it's committed as well. Committed with pace and runs and determination, and there's no reason for them to stop doing that.
Vanus tries to find Roskelly. Simmons battling Alkire, and Alkire wins the ball for Fresno. Alkire in the center has Bracamonte on the wing. Out to Bracamonte. Bracamonte drives the end line, centers it back to Riston. Riston to her left, shot on goal, and Pedrosa right there.
Not well taken, but well held by Pedrosa. And if she fumbles that or spills it, as we like to say, Fresno had a player sitting right on the doorstep there.
Yeah, it was Garibay that was right there to potentially put in a rebound. Pacheco retrieves the long pass. Garcia To Zertucci. Zertucci has that one stolen. Haley McDevitt, who's checked on. Here's Vanus. Vanus fans it outside. Soto on the drive, but can't get much on a shot.
If I'm Fresno at this point, I think everything goes right side, and you isolate Bracamonte until they start double teaming her, because every time she's gotten the ball, she's either gotten an opportunity or created an opportunity and been incredibly dangerous. So I don't think there's any reason to go away from that. And the fact that I'd almost overload that side and just not even play up the left-hand side until they can defend it, because they haven't defended it the entire match.
Yeah, it's Taylor Osiak working over there, and that is just a very difficult assignment. But it seems that Bracamonte has been able to get the sort of the baseline, if you will, almost whenever she wants it, and create those scoring opportunities.
And then if the player seems to try and overload her and commit her, they haven't tried to turn her inside, and when they've done that, she either drags the ball back and then turns it back to the end line and beats her to the end line again. And pretty impressive player. And she's not only done that, she's provided good service too. We've seen players who are quick and are pacey and they can get to the end line, but they don't produce good service. She produces good service. It seems to be 9 out of 10 times that she's gotten to the end line.
Ball belongs to Santiago Canyon on a free kick.
And the other thing they can look at too is maybe she needs to provide early service, but I think she's better when she drags a player and she baits a defender, and then she can beat her with touch and pace, because her first touch to get around a player is very good.
This one chipped into the box, and Castaneda that time aggressively out.
Goalkeeping has been good today for both teams. Castaneda and Pedrosa both have been good goalkeepers.
Yeah, Pedrosa has really withstood a fuselage. Zertucci able to maintain, battling Vanus. Off to Garibay. Garibay finds Gorostitsa. Fresno working from the left side this time. Garibay back toward the center. Out to Garcia. Garcia chips it in. Nobody home.
Seems to be a little lackadaisical or lack of commitment from Fresno's standpoint. Instead of Garcia just running at a player and dragging a defender in and then playing out wide to Bracamonte, she sort of settled for a weak shot from 25 yards, which is it's going to be hard to beat Pedrosa, as we've seen.
Sosa heads this one out of play on the near side. And it'll be a throw-in for Fresno City. Aguirre will handle the throw-in. Riston will be replaced by Anissa Wilson.
And this is the first we've seen of Ophelio Sosa since the first half, the number 24, the high target player for Santiago Canyon. I think they're looking for a little bit of magic that she can hold the ball and give them some time to get players into the attack.
McDevitt able to get in and break that one up. And the ball knocked out of play, and it will go over to Santiago Canyon. Vanus battling against Aguirre, and Sosa lets that one go. It'll be another throw-in for Santiago Canyon. Sosa in from the right, quickly surrounded. Has that one poked away. Aguirre's got it. Really working 1 against 3, cleared out to midfield, where Simmons will send it back, and the Hawks will regroup. Ross Kelly. Checked by Garibay. Tries to lead Vanus down the near side, near the end line, and it's played out by Pacheco. The throw-in will come for Santiago Canyon from the near side. We're into the final minute here in overtime number 1.
Not going to be much stoppage here in the first of 2 overtimes, and Santiago Canyon committing 8 of their 10 forward. 1 on the ball.
And again, Castaneda. Now it's Castaneda. We saw Pedrosa in no particular hurry in the second half, trying to buy her team some time for Santiago Canyon. And now it's Castaneda. More than happy to drain a little time off the clock. Gets into this one. Ashley one-times it back out, trying to find Bracamonte on the one-time.
Good opportunity for Fresno here to put some numbers high and press a little bit, but they didn't do it.
Soto working on the far side.
Seems to be the Fresno fans down in front of us are a little more impatient than the Fresno players are.
Well, isn't that normally the case?
Yeah, I believe it is.
Knocked out of play, and it'll stay with Santiago Canyon. Well, after a pronounced period in which Fresno really appeared to be dominating the time of possession, in this second overtime, it's really been Santiago Canyon that has stepped up. Ross Kelly, hard drive, top of the box, down she goes. Couldn't get everything on the shot. Blocked out front, I should say, and back to Fresno City. Now Zertucci looking for a counter.
Fresno doesn't need to panic. They still have time. They can hold the ball.
Here we go. Free kick. Fresno City.
So the free kick coming for Fresno City, and it'll be Aguirre.
Aguirre on the ball.
Wilson and Alkire and a host of Fresno City players going to set up just outside the box. Aguirre chips this one into the box. Broken up and over the end line, out of play. Who does it belong to? And it's going to be a corner kick. So Fresno City with a chance here.
Red corner. Aguirre lines it up.
And Aguirre, again, will handle the corner kick. Hard drive, and this one out of play. In front of the post, cleared out.
Not a time to hit a poor corner when you've committed numbers forward. That's the ball you definitely want to get into the box and give yourself one more opportunity here as we get into the 120th minute.
Meanwhile, Gonzalez in space. Quickly closed by Garcia, and Garcia just pokes that one away. Gets it to Pacheco. So Garcia able to track down that play for Fresno City. Ross Kelly keeps it alive. Ortega. They were looking for Ortega on the give and go. And a whistle comes in, and Ashley.
Call for handball.
Yeah, got a piece of that ball, and we'll have a free kick, and this will come from just outside the box.
And this is where they look at an opportunity where you have to think they're going to shoot it or there's some sort of deception. But from this point, I think you want to put it on frame, and you want to follow it up with a layer of players to try and win, hopefully win a knockdown ball if the Fresno goalkeeper doesn't save it clean. But you got to get this ball on frame, and it has to be dangerous to give yourself at least one, if not two opportunities, because right now we're in the 121st minute. We're in extra time, and I'm surprised Santiago Canyon doesn't put 3 or 4 more players in the box and try and win the second ball.
McDevitt into the wall. One-timer blocked out front. They did get a second chance with April Gonzalez, but Gonzalez couldn't drive it past the defense from Fresno City. High bounce, fought for. The Rams have it. One timed out. Wilson giving chase, trying to keep it alive and can't on the far side. 11th minute here of second overtime.
Coach, you just made mention as to why Santiago Canyon had so many players back versus having players forward. Do you think that's probably as a result of the speed and the skill of Fresno going the other way on the counter?
Yeah, probably. There's being, all you can call it conservative, but I think at this point I'm actually surprised we've gone an extra minute at this right now, but that's where you have to have belief that the player who's on the ball is going to get that ball on frame or make it dangerous. And I think right there you saw they actually got 2 opportunities. One hit the wall, the second ball came out. They actually won the knockdown. But I like the ability there to give yourself options because Fresno doesn't have anybody back, so there's no reason to hold 5 players. So hold 2 or hold 3, but to hold 5 maybe you give yourself an opportunity to put more players in. When you put more players, Fresno's got to account for those players, and maybe they put less players in the wall or they defend it a little bit differently.
We're into the 12th minute. Overtime number 2. Fresno with the throw in. Good move and a push developing. Alkire outside. A lot of contact left of the box, no call.
Actually, as you just called the timeout there. I'm off by 5 minutes, like I was in the first half. That the way they're
Wilson went down.
Well,
the scoreboard it goes down to 5 minutes, but evidently it doesn't go all the way back to 0.
I believe they stop it at 19.
So I got to do a little quick math in my head.
I'm usually good at math, so I'm glad your math is better than my math at this point. But I still think Santiago Canyon could have committed more numbers into the box at that point.
Ashley lobs it, cleared out, but not all the way. Garcia one-times it, and Pedrosa had to get high up to just tip that one away.
Yeah, I thought she touched.
This should be a corner. How is this a goal kick? Can we see a replay on this, Maddie?
I thought she touched it as well, but maybe not. Because if she did, it was sort of a simultaneous touched it off the crossbar. But
maybe see it off the other camera there, Matt?
I think we caught just the tail end of it.
It's so bang bang.
Pedrosa out toward midfield. The Hawks have it. And a foul called. And they'll stay with Santiago Canyon.
Santiago Canyon, free kick.
Well, Jeff, I said to you before overtime, I said, this one is not going to penalty kicks. I might eat that.
It's not over yet.
It's not. That's a good ball into
Driven
the
toward
box.
the box. Sosa able to redirect, but not a lot on it. And Castaneda.
That's a terrific ball into the box, and Sosa did what she needed to do, which was to flick that on. But when she flicks it on, she needs to have teammates that are running underneath that to try and win the ball in front of the goalkeeper. So the service was good, the deflection was good, but no second layer to get in behind it.
Bracamonte leaves it for Wilson. Wilson. Marked closely by Hawk. And Hawk able to chip that one away, get it back for Santiago Canyon. Pacheco forced to retrieve. Back to Castaneda, who drives it.
Coach, as we fast forward and we look ahead to possible penalty kicks here, do we maybe think about the favorite having and being under a little bit of pressure?
Zertucci in from the left, centers, too strong. Wilson was in front. Now Bracamonte will try again, and this time Pedrosa right there.
Pedrosa really clean again. She's been terrific today, and like you were just asking about, I think Fresno starts to tighten up a little bit.
I think so too.
I think it's weird, like they pucker up a little bit. Meanwhile, Santiago Canyon's sitting on a very good goalkeeper who's been almost flawless today.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if they carry that, what that gets carried into penalty kicks.
And Pedrosa's faced more shots and made more saves today one way or another. And does that enter into it a little bit where you're a little more in the flow?
No, that's 100%.
If you've been facing shots more steadily.
100% correct. You're in the flow. You're a rhythm of the game. You've seen a lot of balls. You've been active, and you've been engaged in the match for 120 minutes. Bring on the penalties. I'll take them right now, and I think that's the way Pedrosa's going to look at it. And look at the body language walking off the field. Santiago Canyon runs off the field. Fresno walks off. Pedrosa's running off, and Fresno's goalkeeper's got her gloves off, and she's walking to the sideline. So if you look at, there's two sets of body language going on right now.
Absolutely. I think you're exactly right. And if you had to give somebody the advantage right now in terms of the mental game, you'd give it to Santiago Canyon, because at this point you're playing with house money. You're up against the top seed from the north, and you're the 2 seed from the south. And coming in, you were the decided underdog.
Absolutely. If I'm Santiago Canyon, and they didn't just get a goal and sit on it either. They played when they scored. They were playing a certain type of rhythm, a certain type of tempo of the game, and tactically, they did the same thing for 120 minutes. They never just sat behind the ball. They defended intelligently, and the reality is all of Fresno's opportunities came from Bracamonte on the right-hand side, getting behind him and getting service in. And I don't think Fresno did that enough. in the second half. Actually, I just would have just kept finding her the ball no matter what. Turn it, play it to the outside, and get the ball to her feet and let her play make. And
well, if the body language at this point is any indication, the fatigue factor started to settle in towards the end of the first half and spilled into overtime. From a skill perspective, you probably have to give the edge to Fresno.
Yeah, the skill perspective to Fresno. But what we saw there in overtime, as overtime went on, as Fresno got more fatigued, all of a sudden you were seeing that their technical abilities and their pace and their speed that they were beating Santiago Canyon with early started to diminish, not getting as many opportunities. But what I like now is Fresno's got their group and they're already sending them out, so that's a show of confidence that they're going to do that. And Santiago Canyon, like you said, I like that house money right now.
Yeah.
Maybe they weren't supposed to be there. Maybe they thought they were going to be here. But if both teams have good goalkeepers, and at this point, Santiago Canyon probably has the goalkeeper that may be a little bit more in flow of the game.
Yeah, you know what Jeff and I like a lot of? House money.
House money is awesome.
Now, are you telling me that you like stacks and stacks of checks?
I do.
And I've got to believe that Ophelia Sosa will be one of the players taking a PK for Santiago Canyon, because she did come on in overtime and hadn't played the whole second half. So there has to be some thinking that maybe she could have created something in overtime, but also that they need her on the field because she's going to be taking one of the PKs.
Well, let's step aside shortly here and back with penalty kicks. It's game 2 of 4 here today in our coverage of the 2017 3C2A Soccer Championships from American River.
Set for penalty kicks, and it will be Pacheco that will take the first kick for Fresno City. Danielle Pacheco ready to go. Sierra Pedrosa in goal for Santiago Canyon. Here's the first kick.
Wow. Gutsy ball right up the middle. Pedrosa goes a little bit early and can't get back to it. So Fresno 1-0.
This will bring on Santiago Canyon. Jenny Ramirez. Ramirez, who hasn't seen a whole lot of time here.
She didn't play much. I almost don't even recall her being on the field. It tells you how much I've been paying attention, because she had to be on the field.
So Ramirez with the first attempt against Castaneda. Just wide.
Wow. Not a very confident penalty kick taken there.
Well, she had Castaneda going the wrong way.
Yeah. And either maybe she went early and she was going and that's the way that she was going to shoot it, and she adapted and went the other way. But either way, 1-0 Fresno.
That'll bring on Garibay for Fresno City. In the corner. You can't execute it a whole lot better than that.
No.
Jasmine Garibay.
Well read by the goalkeeper, and the only place that she was going to beat her at that point was where she beat her. It was in the upper 90 and the roof of the net. So really well taken penalties by Fresno at this point.
Huge pressure on Angelica Ortega, who will take the next penalty kick for Santiago Canyon.
Good thing they're using the Dayglow orange ball as the sun sets.
Ortega, and that's wide. Fresno City with a commanding 2-0 lead in penalty kicks. 3 to go here.
So the interesting thing is, as you see, the Fresno's goalkeeper has left really early on both kicks. Now they can move as early as they want as long as they're on the line. But both the times, especially more I think on that second one, she left early and she got off her line a little bit to the point where she was almost leaning, waiting for the ball to be hit. So there's a certain, I'm not sure what the level is that the referees end up calling it.
This is Taylor Alkire. Alkire slips it inside the post on the right side. And now Santiago Canyon, they have to tally here just to stay alive.
Fresno showing their class right now. Three well-taken penalty kicks. So Fresno showing their class and their ability and their composure, almost acting like they've been here before in terms of taking PKs, and they're incredibly confident when they step up.
April Gonzalez to try and keep the Hawks alive. Blocked by Castaneda. Fresno City closes it out.
That's it, right?
Yeah, they're gonna. They were waiting, I guess, for an official sign.
Yeah.
And now they get the word, and the Rams can celebrate. They win it 3-0 in penalty kicks. They move on to Sunday. They will take on the winner of Game 4 tonight. Let's remind everybody, we're just halfway through today. Coming up next, men's semifinal number 2, Mount San Antonio College and Fresno City. The winner of that one set to take on Taft, who won in Game 1. As always, you can find the games on our site, www.socalcollegesports.com. You can also find them on our YouTube channel. Search SoCal College Sports 1 on YouTube. It'll take you right to our channel where you will find all of our broadcasts, both the live broadcast and the archive broadcast that were finished earlier today. For everybody at SoCalCollegeSports.com, for Dave LaTourette, I'm Jeff Stoynup. So long, everybody. We will be back for game number 3 here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. The Fresno City women move on.